Thank you very much, Maria. Yes, indeed, friends. It is round number 2 here at Pro Tour Phyrexia. Corey Baumeister and Ailey Loney going to bring you the action between our 0-1 players looking to improve their records here to 1-1. Corey, we've seen both of these decks in action now.
Yep.
What do you take away from both builds here that the players have gone for?
The one thing I would take away is the fact that none of them are these, 9, 10 power level decks. But you know what? At a Pro Tour with this stiff of competition, nobody really gets that home run style deck. So both are kind of average. Autumn's deck is really being held up by a lot of prophetic prisms. So that's going to be a very important card to draw. But yeah, either way, very medium style decks. And unfortunately, the loss kind of reflected that in the first one for both of them.
For sure. And we have seen that at this level of competition, the decks, as you mentioned, are never going to be the slam dunk, thank you very much for passing a Kaya on, pack 3.
Exactly.
So it's going to be interesting here to see how this shakes out. Rustvine Cultivator to get things underway here for Luis. Sure. It is his 40th birthday today, so be sure to send him some birthday luck and hope that rubs off.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, with the 1-drop to start, this is such an aggressive format, so being able to get a 1-2 curve here is exactly what Luis is looking for. Yeah. And same with Autumn. Prophetic Prism, is a card that Autumn really needs.
Definitely. So playing 5 colors, I thought perhaps she'd picked up an Atraxa that was just hiding out somewhere, but unfortunately not the case. And so we're going to get things underway here. Both players playing on curve, and we've noticed in this format that, tempo adding to the board is so important.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, you got to be on the board fast, and you got to be on the board often. Otherwise, you fall behind pretty quickly, especially if your opponent's deck is one of those 8 or 9 style power level decks.
I've got a Doom Mover. Going to go and find E-Land. Plenty of basics to pick from for Autumn Burchett. And Rustvine Cultivator going to get to work, getting that world counter, and it will help Luis ramp into something a bit more impactful.
Yep, absolutely. And picking up the Island, Blue Sun's Twilight being one of the most powerful cards, not only in the set, but definitely in Autumn's deck. Yeah. So being able to have that online already, we saw that card cast quite a few times. Not for that magical number of 5 where you get to copy that, but if you ever get that going, it's absolutely insane.
Is indeed. Cards in hand there, Cephalopod Sentry. Been a pretty good defense against the rest of the field so far. Just unfortunately not being able to deliver the beatdowns that Autumn would like at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. A really powerful card. Blue-white, not necessarily what people are striving to get into, but you know what? Autumn's got all the colors, so in somewhere in there's a color combination that is a very powerful one.
An Eccentric, exiling that creature. So one less thing for Luis Scott-Vargas to worry about there. Just the 2-1 now on the other side there for Autumn Burchett.
Yep, and Annex Sentry hitting that creature especially being very effective because it is going to come back with just 1 power and kind of all the work that Autumn has done kind of gets negated, even if Annex Sentry falls.
Let's see here, 4 mana. There we're going to see the Cephalopod Sentry, the Flying X5, currently 3 power.
Yeah, 3/5 here for 4 mana. Flying, you cannot really complain about this. This card always adjusts the power as you get more artifacts in play, so a really nice turn 4 play.
Let's see what Luis has got to follow up with here. Rustvine Cultivator, putting in some good work. Oh, Corey, a Mirren Bardiche. You know what that means.
For Mirrodin! Yeah, this is a really nice card here. Really being able to just get a body, and that equipped cost is actually on the lower end, of some of these other Mirrodin cards. So being able to, transfer that over is a really nice ability.
Yeah, relatively easy to do so. And you see some of the other equip costs, like the Battle Chair, for example. It's just could you just not die, please, little rebel? That would be nice.
No kidding. I need to get that chair for my office.
Oh, no. I could imagine you would do that.
All right, so we got some nice removal here for Autumn that looks like what she's trying to do to maybe deal with Annex Sentry or really tempo Luis out with that Anoint with Affliction, but second guessing it here, maybe to be a little bit more mana efficient with Vorak.
Yeah, I think I want to see the little piggy come down.
Yeah.
Go find a land and just try to get this mana base behaving a bit better here for Autumn Burchett.
Yeah, Contagious Vorak. Look at that card. One of the best green 3-drops we have ever seen. The fact that you can just get a land, 3 mana, draw a card, or have some extra text. Like, whenever I saw the ability that you can do something else, it was like the 10th time I played it because I stopped at getting the land. I was like, this card can't be any better. I mean...
Yeah, no, it's insanely good. If you, there's a bunch of us on commentary that we're just like, yeah, if we see that piggy, we're gonna take it. It doesn't matter what the rare or the uncommons are. It's like, give me the pig.
100%. Doesn't matter the color. Find some prophetic prisms later. Get it in there.
Yep. So down to 17 goes Luis. First blood drawn here for Autumn Burchett.
And Autumn a little bit out of gas here, just one Anoint with Affliction and another card. But as we saw from her little deck tech before this, there's a lot of power in this deck. So, you know, something like Blue Sun's Twilight off the top is going to be very effective.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Wanting to steal something, you know, pretty darn big from Luis's side of the battlefield. Nothing just yet, but the Miranbar Dish, the Rebel, is taken out. Trades with the Contagious Vorak and a Plague Nurse added in here.
Yeah, Plague Nurse, a card that not a lot of players are valuing incredibly high. But, you know, I know some players, Eli Cassis, for instance, really loves this card. You know, this card just increases each toxic creature. You know, the toxic does stack in such a way where it adds one to it. And it creates a really fast clock.
Yeah, if you're in a racing situation, Plague Nurse is an excellent mana sink. It's got, you know, a pretty decent sized butt as well.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, 4 toughness is relevant in this format.
It really is. The 4 converted mana cost is kind of what is a little scary because you cannot play too many of them in this format. We've been seeing how fast it is. Blink and you miss some of these games here.
Alrighty, looks like
hello.
Big
draw.
Luis picked up a Paladin of Predation.
Okay. Interesting. Paladin of Predation is extremely large, and I believe Luis had a land, so that was an option here, but it... Oh, wait, the Cultivator does not have the oil. Of course,
no
yes.
oil.
So
Yeah.
next turn, we're going to see that drop, and that is a game changer for sure.
Oh, yeah. And effectively the biggest blocker on Autumn's side of the battlefield.
Yeah.
Can't do anything about that, courtesy of the Planar Disruption.
And the best Blue Sun's Twilight target possible.
Oh,
Copy that one.
Oh, that would be so rude. I want to see it.
Of course, that is 9 mana, you know, so you should be probably winning the game for 9 mana here.
Alrighty, let's see what can Autumn follow up with. That is going to be Anoint with Affliction, taking care of the Annex Sentry, so get the creature back on the other side of the battlefield.
Yeah, and nowhere near being corrupted, so couldn't really take down the target that Autumn really wants to take down, which is the Plague Nurse that is suited up. Or the 7-drop that is inevitably coming down next turn.
That's going to be a little bit of a pause, I'd imagine, as we're going to see Incubation Sac. I love this card. This is such a good little way to use your mana. It's like, oh, I have nothing to do. I'm just going to make a 3/3.
Yeah, I thought this card was going to be too slow for the draft format, maybe like a sealed bomb type of card, but it has really been, you know, showing its chops here as players start to draft just really, really aggressive cards where if you can just play 2-drops, 3-drops, and then Incubation Sac and just do that every turn, it's tough to push through that.
Yeah, I mean, plenty of the token creators in this set have run away with games.
Oh, yeah.
We see the lands that can make the mites. We've got this as well.
Yes.
Even Unctus?
Unctus, yeah.
Is that the one I'm thinking of? The Azorius legend that can also create golems whenever there's artifacts.
Oh,
so,
yep,
yeah,
absolutely.
That's also powerful.
Yep, absolutely. That's a nice one to blink or bring back. Yeah, that's a powerful card.
Alrighty, as things stand, both players kind of just, you know, checking each other out. Over the battlefield here, let's see if it's time for our Paladin of Predation to hit the board.
Yeah, a really kind of tricky situation here. The boards are starting to get clogged up, and Luis is feeling the pressure. Like, if I do not push through damage here, the Incubation Sac will just start to run away with it, especially if you ever start proliferating with that. It just becomes really, really, really powerful over time. And bang, there it is.
Paladin of Predation, Toxic 6. Yeah, you want to end a game, just, you know, smack your opponent a couple times with this.
No kidding. Just double corrupted, easy, one hit.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I gotta read that one. You don't see 7-drops cast and draft too much unless it's Kaya, which we did see in a deck the last round.
Yeah, Kaya maybe a little more scary than the Paladin, but still that much damage coming through, and only certain creatures can block it. You know.
And as it stands right now, no creatures can block it. With the Incubation Sac, you're able to not only evolve, get that creature up to a 3/3, then you put another 3/3 into play, but that does not do anything to 7 toughness. And that's before we even start pumping anything with Predation Steward. It's just, yeah, going to be really tough here for Autumn.
Just want to shout out Autumn's awesome gruel tattoo.
That is awesome.
It is very cool. In terms of tat game, I think Autumn's winning.
By far,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And as this game stands right now, who would you give the advantage to, Corey?
I would definitely say Luis. I just don't see a clear path that Autumn has to deal with this gigantic creature, especially being pumped right now. 2 hits from that, it's over. This goes up to Toxic 8. This is 8 damage.
Yowza.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, poison counters are a funny thing because, yeah, I'm sure you can have as much life as you like, but got to keep an eye on that, and there's no way to slow that down.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe if Luis wins this match and the next one with Paladin of Predation there, might have to get that tattooed as well. Yep, that might be his birthday gift to himself.
That might be taking it a bit far.
Okay,
but,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, another big draw step there from Luis.
Goodness me, down to 11 goes Autumn, 8 poison.
Yeah,
Just
Evolved.
2 to go. Any proliferation, any just little chipping damage in through there? Ooh, this is going to be bad news for Autumn indeed. Let's see what we can get going here.
Normally a Death Toucher here against a gigantic creature would be great, but you need to get that a little bit more power to be able to block. But if Autumn's able to do that, this board would be a little bit more stable. But with that Evolved Spinoderm too, being hexproof for a couple turns, then transforming into a trampler, and then, well, dying, but still an incredibly powerful card that Luis basically slammed during the draft here earlier today.
You see that guy, you're going to grab him. He's
Yeah.
just a house. You know, next to Thrun, this is probably the best beat stick you could
Yeah,
add to the board.
no kidding. Speaking of Thrun, don't you just love playing against that card?
No,
I
sorry.
just love it. You know, it's so much fun.
Oh, boy. Like, oh, Thrun? Okay, bye.
Yeah, it's shocking. I have never beaten that card when it's cast against me, and I've never lost when I've cast it.
Yeah, that seems to track. All right. Mirren Bardiche on the Paladin of Predation. So that's a big old chunk of damage. Thankfully, no trample.
No trample, and it does look like this was up to 8 toughness and now 10 toughness, which is the magical number right now because Autumn did have the ability to triple block with 3 3/3s and would have gladly done it, but instead now Autumn's going to have to chump. Otherwise, you know, she's dead.
Yeah.
But not only that, but it kind of puts Autumn in the abyss, as we like to say, where you just kind of have to chump block every turn. And the more you have to chump block, the less you have to block and take it down.
Yeah.
Now, you do get the trigger here to drain a little bit of life. Of course, if it's remembered, you know, I mean, we're back to paper magic. Things are a lot different than in our digital era. You know, you do have to remember everything when it comes to that.
Yeah, so we'll see a couple of mistakes this weekend for sure, but, you know, that is to be expected. This is a lot of players trying to shake off the rust, as it were,
Absolutely.
as they come back to paper magic. Rustbinding Cultivator up to 4 oil counters now.
All right, so now we'll see what kind of attackers here. Autumn, once again, doesn't really have enough blockers to take down this Paladin, but now also has to worry about the Evolved Spinoderm if Luis is thinking about it. Looks like both of these are getting in there.
So again, looks like we're just going to see a chump block here from Autumn. Thankfully, though, she does have a replenishable source of 3/3s. Well, not right now. There's no counter on it, so
Yeah.
never mind that.
That's the tough one, is like when Incubation Sac at least has 1 counter on it, there's so much proliferate to get it going, but it is pretty tough to get a counter on it and then start proliferating. So yeah, it's going to be tough to get that going again. Really going to need some removal here from Autumn.
Or just, you know, ways to exchange control of permanence.
Yes, yeah, let's see. Is
Looking
that
at
3, 4,
you,
5, 6?
Blue Sun's Twilight.
Autumn does have a land in hand, so if she's able to find that, Blue Sun's Twilight can take this Paladin, and it pseudo takes the equipment for a turn.
Yep.
You know, Luis will just have to re-equip it, and then it is gone. It's not like Autumn will control that, but if that's on the top of the deck, all of a sudden, it goes from, I don't know how Luis is going to lose this game, to there's not a chance he's winning this game.
Especially if we see similar to what she did in the first game.
Yeah.
You know, where Meldweb Curator just continuously bringing that back. Contagious Vorak. Gonna go digging. See if we find a land. And it looked like there were plenty on top of the library there.
Plenty of them, and honestly, Luis has the option here to proliferate if the land isn't needing to get up to 9, but, you know, 9 with a toxic 6 is a little bit overkill, but if you got to get to 15 toxic. All right, and there is viral spawning in the sideboard, kind of a call a herd flashback.
Nice.
And, you know, Luis must have really wanted the land here to double cast that. Otherwise, you definitely do consider putting Autumn up to 9 poison here. Okay, that is a big draw as well.
Yeah, as it stands, there's 2 avenues to victory here for Luis. But Vran is doing a good job of keeping Autumn in this and dinging Luis. He's down to 9 life now.
Yeah. Cruel Grimnark there hitting the battlefield, and that is a gigantic Death Toucher here, so that actually can do some work. Now Luis's attacks get a little bit more murky.
Yeah, because if any, unless he's getting through for damage, which at this point it doesn't look like it. There's a good board established here.
Yes. Yeah, the whole board problem here for Autumn was the fact that the Paladin couldn't be blocked by the 2 power, 2 toughness creatures. But if that card's under check, the rest of these 3/3s can be blocked with a 1/3 and a 2/2 or anything like that.
Yeah.
And Autumn's life total, actual life total at 17, it's not really threatening that much of losing immediately. It's the 8 poison that is really Luis's fastest way. And there's a venomous brutalizer off the top. If Luis would have just proliferated instead of getting that land,
that would be it.
That would be it. Yeah, absolutely. So maybe something if Luis could have time traveled back and knew it was on top of the deck, maybe would have thought of that instead of getting an extra 3/3 on the battlefield. But Autumn did have to top deck that Death Toucher to be able to stay in this one. Wow, what a great game.
Yeah. Lots of swingy moments in terms of life totals going back and forth, but Autumn at 8 poison. You got to think the route to victory here for Luis is to find a way to proliferate or just to push those 2 points of toxic damage through.
Yeah, 100%. And look at this attack here. Looks like this is just going for the trade. Luis is probably thinking like, yeah, I know Blue Sun's Twilight is in the deck. I maybe just have to put this to the graveyard just in case. Because eventually Autumn will draw that card and the game would just end. Without the Paladin on the battlefield, taking a 3/3, copying it, still very good. You know, copying a Vorak, excellent, get the trigger and everything, but...
Yeah, certainly not something you want to be gifting your opponent, as it were.
100%.
It's a big thing here now for Autumn. Signing blocks.
And Luis can't really go all-out attack kind of and just like force through some damage. Because, well, Luis is at 9. The crackback could be something dangerous. But Luis gets in with every creature that's able to kill a creature on Autumn's side of the battlefield.
Yep. Once again, we have a trigger from Vran. So we will go up to 19. Autumn's almost back at starting life total.
Absolutely.
And a couple turns ago, it was looking like, okay, Autumn might be dead just to straight up damage here. But yeah, that card's put in some work.
It really has. And most importantly, on top of that, Luis down to 7. So this is definitely something that he has to have in mind. And at any point, Autumn can sacrifice, proliferate, and drain again. And there it is!
Blue Sun's Twilight, let's go!
Big heads-up play from Luis getting in there because you see that shake of the head. It could have been a lot worse, but already this is incredibly bad for Luis. Blue Sun's Twilight being one of the best cards in the set.
Yeah, for sure. Just being able to steal a thing and get a copy of it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I like your bomb. I didn't open any. Thank you. I'll take that from you.
Exactly. The worst part about this card, Ailey, is that top right, the 2 blue, because it is a blue card. You know, but outside of that, if you're playing blue, this is about as good as it gets.
Beast token.
Oh man.
The beast token comes in as a token, so it's a double token, of course. Yep. Nope, just kidding. That does not exist. But we do see that equipment going over there. Now, for anybody unfamiliar with how that works, Luis can at any point just re-equip, and we'll probably be doing that immediately to not only shrink a creature.
Oh, hey, okay.
Okay.
Oil Gorger Troll. Pad the life total a little bit. Draw an extra card. Let's see if there is anything to help stay alive here. The 4 life certainly helps, though. Up to 10. And there is a toxic enabler.
Yeah, and a great card. Yeah, if Luis does end up falling in this match, you know, probably going to think back to the Vorak, did I proliferate with the Brutalizer in hand? Because now it's looking very unlikely that he's able to actually get damage through and might have to proliferate his way to the win, even though he doesn't have that many ways to do it.
Prosthetic Injector queued up on the Troll now, so an extra big booty to block.
This card's been impressing me.
Yeah.
You know, I really thought just not boosting power, adding one Toxic just seemed okay to me, but if you ever play, for instance, one Black Death Toucher and then equip it the next turn, get 2 poison going immediately, ends up being very good in this format.
Alrighty, what's the top deck here? We're tapping. Let's re-equip the Mirren Bardiche. Is a Troll going to get a stick? Let's see. 2 sticks. Got a syringe in one hand and a clobbering stick in the other. Yeah.
Be a scary sight coming at you, that's for sure.
You're running the other way.
And now there's no real proliferation that Autumn can do.
Yeah, with the long legs.
Exactly, but still being able to just block this, sacrifice it, drain, it's still something very powerful. Luis really has to consider, like, I don't think I'm going to be winning the game on true life total. It's poison. That's the magic number 8 there is what Luis is going to be worrying about.
Yeah, definitely so. Just checking through his list to see if there are any other proliferation sources for him.
Yeah, I remember seeing it before, and not a ton, you know, not an absolute ton. Luis really does need to just get in for damage, try to find some evasion here, but here we go. Vorak and the Troll getting in there.
Okay. The Piggy got the Injector. It's a 3/5 now.
3/5, still pretty easily blocked by the 2 3/3s. If Ran wants to get in there and block, I kind of doubt it just because it's been doing so much work already. I mean, it's trained like, it's had like a 16-point life swinger so far already. Just incredible. And it looks like, Autumn recognizing the life total is not where I'm dying. Sure, I'll take 5, no problem. It's the poison.
Cue Britney Spears Toxic. But don't, because DMCA issues.
Yes, of course, of course.
All right. Still very close here between these two players. 8 life points versus 8 poison counters. Which one is going to go off first? There's a lot of land in hand there for Autumn.
Absolutely. And we see a Vorak there for Autumn. A lot better in Autumn's deck, I would say, just because you are indeed 5 colors. So trying to find a lot of different lands is very important.
Yeah. You know, Vorak, an excellent common. The mythic common of the set.
It has to be the mythic common of basically any limited set that we've seen in the last, like, 5 years. Incredible Magic card. Still see that Venomous Brutalizer in Luis's hand. Just has drawn cards with Troll and stuff and had a lot of other things to do with his mana. 16 counters there on Cultivator.
16, eh? We need to whip out the D20s.
Yeah,
just 7.
There's unfortunately not too many things that truly matter as far as a lot of oil counters on cards. It's just, does this have an oil counter? You know, that is the main thing that matters. So not really something that is really relevant right now, but still a great 1-drop. You know, being able to go 1. Usually you want your 1-mana ramp cards to be acting like Llanowar Elves, where you can go 1 to 3. This card, of course, doesn't do that, but you get to go 1, 2, and then to 4. And there's a lot of good 4-drops, so still a very good 1-drop, one of the best ones in
Or just double 2-drops, because, you know, those are so important in this format.
Exactly, yeah.
Here comes the Venomous Brutalizer, Toxic 3.
Toxic.
Did pay the extra 2 mana to proliferate, so Autumn is up to 9 poison counters now.
So let's see, maybe if Luis has any more Voraks, you could proliferate that way.
He's just got the 2, I believe.
Just got the 2. Yeah, I believe we saw both of them. Maybe only 1 so far, so that could be a top deck here for the win. Yeah, it does have the 2.
This board is so clogged up right now.
Yep, and an interesting play there. Autumn attacked with the 3/3. Mostly hoping it would die. You know, mostly hoping the card would die, but Luis with a heads-up play blocking with the 2/4 so that Vran doesn't trigger, Charforger doesn't trigger, heads-up block there. So Luis had plenty of creatures to eat it.
Yeah.
Brutalizer could block, Troll could have blocked and taken it down, but too big of a problem for the drain.
Slaughter Singer, excuse me, could make for some tricky blocks, as it does give the toxic creatures +1/+1.
Yeah. a
But
really
again,
incredible 2-drop. He picked it up really late in that draft as well.
oh, we're seeing it again.
Oh,
Melt
my.
Web Curator. What you got over there, Luis? I'd like to steal it.
Yeah, and we'll see if there's that other Vorak in the deck. It might be getting close to the time where Luis has a one-outer. You know, at this point, outside of that, Luis is going to lose a lot of his battlefield here.
Yeah.
You see Tarvar Stan in play for Luis.
Yeah.
So that is a
That is
nice
definitely
one.
relevant, giving a creature hexproof. So
Yep.
that could be a massive blowout for Autumn.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's huge. Yeah, and you don't get the token or anything.
No.
Spell fizzles
just
when it
whiff.
comes hexproof. Yeah.
Yep.
Tyvar Stan is a counter spell to the
In
max
green.
from a lot of the Twilights. Black Sun Twilight as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So keeping that firmly in the holster. The turn passes it back to Autumn Burchett. Blue Sun's Twilight.
7.
Tapping for all the things.
Twilight is
What is the
going
target?
to
Let's see.
targets.
Yeah, and another thing, we did see Luis in the draft drafted 3 Tyvar Stan. So
Yeah.
I think that one's coming in. I think the third one's coming in. He did main deck only 2 of them. You don't want to draw too many pump spells
Yeah.
and not enough creatures.
It's like the ultimate no touchy.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding. No touchy, no killing. And I mean, that was great. That was a big
Yeah.
exchange. Luis got to deny Autumn of a draw step because you had to put it on top and prevent that from happening. Still needs to find a way to push through damage here. Sacks the land at end step to draw an extra card. Big turn for Luis.
No, Rustfine Cultivator. You don't
that's a
want to do that right
cultivator.
now. That's a womp womp.
And a couple of lands. They're not
Ugh.
what Luis wants at all here at this stage of the game.
Oh,
You know he's just thinking, come on, deck, it's my birthday. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, one time maybe?
Yeah.
That would be nice.
All right, looks like we got 2 3/3s coming in, possibly. Really, Autumn just wants some of her creatures to die
Yeah,
here.
she's literally just chucking them under
Yeah.
the bus at this point. And I suppose the one thing that these Rustfines are good at is, you know, not dealing any damage.
Exactly. And that's the one thing that Celestia is pretty bad at is taking creatures completely off the battlefield. So,
Yeah.
you know, planar disruption,
Oh,
shut
oh,
down.
there we
it
go.
is!
Contagious
Vorak!
Rock. Little Piggy gets it done off the top of the library. No land, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I will take that proliferation.
Wow.
Jeez.
That was a big draw.
Woo.
You know Luis was going to be kind of kicking himself that he picked up that land when he already had 7 in play, when it could have proliferated, gets bailed out with that last one before Autumn was about to take control again. So
Oh, man, that'll do, Pig. That'll do. Let's get the next game underway here. So Rustfine Cultivator and Evolving Adaptive hit the board first. Can we keep playing on curve? Looks
Yep.
like it.
Evolving Adaptive being one of the mythic uncommons, I would say, in this set. The one thing that came with Phyrexia will be one is there wasn't +1/+1 counters on it, so Proliferate was completely obscene, you know? But this is the one way that we kind of cheated around that, where proliferating and other kind of stuff like that get this card just completely out of control.
Canker Bloom added to the battlefield here. This uncommon is such a cool card.
Yeah.
You know, a big old
Really
chunky
cool.
3/2. Oh, an Annex Sentry. Goodness me, this is like the dream start here.
Yeah, dream start and
Luis.
kind of a flashback of what we saw
Yeah.
exactly last game here.
I like that. I think I will take it.
Yeah, and did not want to trade here. So Autumn valuing the Death Toucher and the Toxic ability here a little bit more than trading for a 3/2. That's definitely a trade that would make sense, you know, being a 3/2 power creature. There's the namesake card of Autumn Burchett's list, Prophetic Prism.
Oh, yeah.
Normally not the best card in draft just because, well, you know what, turn 2, especially if you're on the draw, you're playing this to just draw a card. It can be a problem. But when your deck's full of power because you're playing all the colors,
Yeah.
it ends up being a lot better.
Yeah, certainly putting in the work. 2 cards extra drawn, 2 other colors, if needed, available for Autumn. But not that much happening on the board right now, and that's what matters.
And pretty
Power and toughness.
pretty normal stuff we see from this format. The old Forest Island, Charforger in hand type draw. Gotta love that. Able to be cast immediately right now.
Alrighty, yeah, let's use those prisms to get the mana we need. Charforger coming in.
Autumn has some nice ones in hand here.
Yeah, that's some good stuff. All right, not the Charforger. What do we got going?
Looks like Bladehold War Whip.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Not quite yet.
Charforger. Okay, yeah. Well, then, and then next turn we put the War Whip on the Forger.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Bladehold War Whip is one of the best reasons to be Boros, too. Like, I absolutely love that card. That card can really get out of hand, especially with how many great pump spells there are in this format.
Yeah, it's one of the top performing commons or uncommons in the set, so.
Absolutely.
Not going to let that one pass you by in a draft.
And here is a good block, because the Bladehold War Whip that Autumn just drew, a really important thing to make sure that the creature was not able to kill it.
For sure. All right, what we got here from Luis? Let's see what this turn looks like. So 2 creatures apiece. We got the Rustbind Cultivator, able to ramp him if needs be.
And Luis does still have some cards in hand here. The Paladin coming down next turn. Tyvar stand right now to do something, but...
And then say go.
Oh, okay, the War Whip does hit the board there for Autumn. And Paladin off predation time.
Yep.
He's back.
Absolutely. For Meriden coming in. All right, definitely the scariest threat on the battlefield, on pretty much any battlefield that it's played.
Yeah, probably without a doubt. Unless, you know, Thrun is hanging out.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But the thing is, this blocks Thrun, you know?
Yeah.
It can actually stand up to Thrun. Of course, it's not going to kill it, but... Right, there is Vorak. And looks
My
like
land?
it was just the proliferate.
Okay.
So land was either not found or not wanted.
Yeah.
I would assume probably not found.
Molten Rebuke and Free from Flesh available for Autumn. And yeah, swing time. Let's get this Paladin swinging on in here. I think it's only the Vorak that can block it at this point.
It is only the Vorak?
Charforger.
But it looks like, okay, so we are pumping this up, and we're getting a double block here. Looks like this is a trade, but I believe I did see, yeah, Luis not only has Tyvar stand, but a way to remove the equipment itself, which would also be quite the blowout. But Tyvar stand just being good enough here. 1 mana trick. Take that.
Another Rustbind Cultivator added to the board here. Tyvar stand putting in work here for Luis Scott-Vargas, keeping these relevant threats alive and making things a lot more difficult for Autumn Burchett. You know, re-equip costs, a thing to think about. You know, preserving the life total, which is a lot more of a factor this time. No Vran, Executioner Thane around.
Yep, absolutely.
Nice.
There we go. Charforger finding an incredibly powerful removal spell. Gotta love that. And we do see the canopy in Luis's hand, so maybe Luis is looking for a more opportune time when Autumn tries to equip.
Yeah,
and then
pay the cost and then kill it.
Exactly. That becomes a little less important as the game goes on. Is that another brick?
No, no.
Okay, we got lands this time. Ooh.
Lands, but that's a painful thing to see.
Yep.
Blue Sun's Twilight. Oh, man.
I was like, that's about a brick. You know, when you see your bomb on top, you're like, please, no. Can I take that back?
Oh, man. It's almost as much of a feels bad as milling cards. You know, like, mill this many cards, return one. It's like, no.
Exactly. Like, I cannot risk this. I cannot lose my best card. Looks like we did pick up the land. Thought about proliferating, but only turning a 2/2 into a 3/3 not valid enough.
Yeah, turning things sideways. My favorite part of Magic.
Yeah, absolutely. Get him in there. And now, interesting, the Paladin is able to be double blocked here, but that is not enough unless Autumn can do something else. So. But did leave back a Vorak, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, double Voraks hanging out. Perhaps able to jump in there with a War Whip on them for the next attack.
And here we go. We might see that coming in.
For free.
Okay. Draw 3, proliferate. An incredible
that card played.
Yeah, you don't see that card often, but it is just a powerful effect. People really don't value the draw 3 on one card, even though it's that expensive. If you can have a deck that has a bunch of bodies like Autumn's deck, and then all of a sudden you draw 3 cards, you can really pull far ahead, especially with Luis drawing another land here.
Oh, no.
Oh, and Autumn's hand is stacked now. We have Cruel Grimnarch, Cephalopod, and Molten Rebuke here. Premium removal spell with 2 gigantic creatures. One of them being a flyer that Luis, I guess, does have the answer for right now, but...
I mean, still a thing you definitely want to get down on this board.
Yeah.
You know, make Luis have it. Don't really want to be holding back anything, but yeah, just going to start off with the discard. So Cruel Grimnock able to get that forest out of hand. Nothing relevant really for Luis lost.
Yep, not a big deal with the discard, but the large death-touching body here being able to attack through. And there goes Canopy.
No, Carnivorous Canopy, so that's the way clear for the Cephalopod.
That is clear, exactly, yeah. Luis might be wanting to take that back after the Cephalopod comes into play. Another a Canopy picked up for Autumn as well.
Okay, well.
She's like, oh, okay, how am I going to
table.
not mess this up? My hand is awesome. Like, now Autumn can definitely feel this game slipping away and able to force a game 3 between these two incredible Magic players.
Play a friend.
Alrighty, let's get the Cephalopod down. Evolving Adaptive. Getting quite chunky over there.
Absolutely. And a little reminder to anyone back in the day from Mythic Championship 1, Autumn Burchett winning that one. And winning might be underselling it. Autumn destroyed that tournament. It was so incredibly fun to watch. Her pilot model blue.
Right. Excellent, excellent piloting indeed. Here comes game number 3. So, Corey, any predictions for this one? Are we going to see same old, same old? Oh, yeah, Rustline Cultivated.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it's starting. I got to like Luis's chances being on the play with the more streamlined deck, but if Luis stumbles at all here or just doesn't have this powerful draw like we're seeing right now, Autumn's deck really has a lot of power.
Yeah.
You know, so it really could be anyone's games here. Both hands look great, except Autumn does not have land 3, it looks like. So
Dune Mover's going to go get it, though.
Yep, absolutely. Dune Mover there. Able to get that Prophetic Prism in hand, and it looks to be, everything seems to be online.
Yeah, getting 3 colors, turn 3. You love to see that.
I just assumed that Dune Mover was a Prophetic Prism since there's about 5 of them in this deck. Oh, wow, and look at this. Turn 3. Evolved Spinoderm here, coming down.
Terrifying. 5/5 on turn 3, hexproof for the time being, then tramples, and then dies.
Yeah.
Eventually. But you might be dead by that time.
Exactly, yeah. 4 counters, that's usually enough time to be able to connect quite a few times. And as long as Luis has some follow-up here, it's going to be a scary game for Autumn for sure.
Oh, my goodness me. 5 points of damage. Dunk!
And on turn 3, when you're on the play with the ramp, like that has to be pretty much the ideal start, except a 2-drop added in there for Luis. But that is one thing his deck was kind of lacking, so.
Hey. Here's the biggie. Let's have a look-see.
A heads-up play there from Luis, adding the counter now just in case he doesn't find a land. Then the Proliferate at least adds an additional counter. And something that Luis really might prioritize a little bit more, keeping that Evolved Spinoderm alive for an extra turn could really matter. But the land that Luis found can draw him a card a little bit later here.
Yeah. Hunter's Maze being able to be sacrificed later on when needs be. Something else happening. The lands in this set are pretty useful. Icarus Basilisk, Death Touch Toxic 1.
Great card here for Autumn. That is able to do some work to the Spinoderm unless Luis can find a Tyvar stand. Probably one of the 3 that he would have at this point. Decides that's okay. Getting it in there. It does now have Trample.
One more attack after this turn.
A cute little thing that you can do, maybe if you are Golgari, is being able to have that at 2. Your opponent points a removal spell at it, and you proliferate, and then get it back up and be like, gotcha.
You are cheeky.
Not something we'll see from green-white. Not too much instant speed proliferating, but very much a cute thing.
Sure.
You can see the adaptive in front of the Vorak. And those two will trade.
17, 18, and then
damage being taken there, looks like it.
Yeah, interesting. It looks like Autumn is just trying to really just let that creature bleed out. Yeah, exactly. Doesn't want to waste the 1/3 Death Toucher on that when you can block something, let's say, like Gorge or Troll. I believe that is... Oh, nope, not the Blue Sun's Twilight there.
Not yet.
So not an incredibly powerful hand from Autumn at the moment, but Tyvar Stan able to do some serious work on this battlefield. Probably what we're going to see deployed, unless you just want to get the Curator down right now.
And if you think if it's necessary to block with the Death Toucher, keep it around an extra turn, that could be pretty big for Autumn.
100%. Even just giving indestructible to the Death Toucher and just being able to kill 2 creatures off of it ends up being a really strong pair.
Indeed.
So perfect, yep. Autumn had not played a land, so being able to play the 4-drop and have Tyvar stand up to do that Death Touch trick here is going to be excellent. We'll see what Luis has picked up.
Oh, it's a very sad Meldweb Curator, though. It wants spells.
So sad, yeah. Absolutely.
But, you know, gotta stay alive, stay in the game. 12 life to 21, and here comes the Spinoderm.
Yep.
Down to
And
7
another thing, Autumn's just like, yeah, I'm not wasting any cards on that. It is going to die next turn. Luis picking up some nice cards.
Plague Nurse, the Bardiche, and the Disruption. Let's see what is coming down now. Look, it's Bardiche time. For Mirrodin!
I love the Mirrodin cards. I mean, just adding an exclamation point at the end, it's perfect.
Yeah, that's definitely your kind of thing. Do you get extra points in the game? Like,
I think you do. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. Even when I'm just playing Arena by myself, I'll just find myself being completely quiet, and then I'll play one of these for Mirrodin.
All right, there you go. Spinoderm down.
Yeah, and one of the few times I've actually seen that card just fall to removing the counters before someone's life total has not hit 0. So
I just imagine it hitting himself, you know.
Exactly.
He's just a little too rambunctious.
Exactly. All right, there's the Tyvar stand to protect from the planar disruption.
Yeah, no touchy, says Autumn. And one thing I love about how Autumn plays Magic is she is so disciplined.
Yes.
You know, whenever we're sitting there thinking, just the regular at-home Magic player going, I should probably kill that thing. Nope. She knows
Patience.
Exactly. Patience.
Soak up all the value in your cards. Absolutely. And we are seeing Molten Rebuke here, which is huge.
Ooh, nice.
Being able to have the old natural 2-for-1.
Oh, lovely.
And for 5 mana, that is what you really need from a removal spell.
Yeah.
Just 5 mana, kill something. Not quite up to snuff in this format most of the time, but when you can get that equipment, this card goes from being okay to just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so nice play there from Autumn.
And artifact and enchantment removal is very relevant in this set. Here's another Contagious Vorak. Let's see what we find. Land or proliferate. There's a land.
Yeah, and this is just definitely everything kind of slipping away from Luis here with 2 lands in hand.
Double Vorak. Let's go, piggies.
More lands, more lands. So now basically everything in Autumn's deck is castable, even with 1 Prophetic Prism. Pretty easy to see that. We didn't see exactly what went on the bottom to see what is still, on the upper half of Autumn's deck, but
you know what? The Twilight is 3 cards closer to the top now.
That's true. Unless, of course, it was saw on that last one, then that's not good, but.
Venomous Brutalizer picked up here for Luis.
Yeah, very different games as far as what Luis has tried to do so far. Attack life total, attack with poison. Not even a single, toxic damage on Autumn right now at all. So no point in really proliferating.
So we're gonna see Venomous Brutalizer come on down.
And it is the largest creature on the battlefield, but when the battlefield gets this clogged, attacking in with a 4/4 and just having, your 3/4 and a Vorak block here, it's not that ideal. Now,
the Enforcer down too. Do we have 2 artifacts?
Yep, the Dune Mover and the Prism, so able to think of that as a 4/4 vigilance creatures, and that can trade with anything on the battlefield. Autumn has more creatures, so she's happy to trade away something here. Luis gets to make a good block, quote-unquote good block, where loses the worst creatures that he has in exchange for a larger creature to trade up, as we like to say. But even that, Luis is falling really far behind really quickly.
Yeah.
And Vran is going to be triggering just as much as we've been seeing, the last couple turns. But there is an Annex Sentry, which is going to help out.
Annex Sentry, premium removal. Pretty good body as well.
Yeah, what a great card. I mean, 1/4 on my Oblivion Ring? I love it, absolutely. Sign me up.
Ring on us.
There's a Prism.
Draw another card here. Dig deeper into this library. Now, this is certainly not a deck that we would have expected to see working.
Absolutely not. Yeah, 5-color I did not think we would just see.
Yeah.
But you know what? That is kind of how it works at these Pro Tour drafts. You got to get creative, and the players that maybe try to force something that's not there and don't get creative like this, those are usually the 1/2 or the 0/3 decks. Autumn took the other way. I was like, you know what? All right, I'm kind of getting a lot of mixed signals. I'm just going to start taking powerful cards. Prophetic Prisms go really late, and that was just a sign for her to move in and just play all the best things possible.
Good stuff. Deck.
Good stuff. Deck.
Yep.
Yeah.
Incubation sack. Getting a couple. Getting some value there before the Carnivorous Canopy takes care of it.
Yep. Still gets the 3/3 out of it. No real way that Luis could have prevented that.
Ooh,
Boom.
Look at Shepherd.
That's a big draw. There are no flyers on Autumn's side. And at 9, I mean, this is a 3-turn clock.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of factors that go into losing a creature, getting a drain to kind of prevent that, but...
The Basilisk.
Swinging into the Basilisk, getting poison counter on there for Luis.
Swamp Sager.
Now, are we going to see this birdie start flying in? Sure are. There is a Anoint with Affliction in hand for Autumn. Down to 6. An Eccentric. Anoint with Affliction takes care of that, so no exile.
No exile, doesn't have the ability of going away, coming back. Not that it's super relevant. It would still come back as well, but if you target it, deal with it, and then it just never gets taken away. But that Affliction was really something that Autumn wanted for the 3/3 flyer that there's really not an answer to right now.
No.
And the one problem that Autumn has here, ooh, that was a big draw. A reach blocker here for this 3/3 is exactly what Autumn needed.
Yep.
Okay.
Canker Bloom, all right. It's not really got any valid or any relevant targets right now, so just holding the fort here is Luis at 16. He's got 3 poison counters on him.
And is corrupted now, so that Anoint would have been excellent at this point. But Vran is just proving to be so amazing in this matchup where green-white just cannot kill it. You know, unless Luis had these fight spells, which just he did not see in the draft at all. At all. There was nothing taken over it, just did not see Ruthless Predation or Infectious Bite as some of the ways that is green's premium removal to actually get stuff off the battlefield instead of planar disruptioning threats.
No fights, no bites. I'd love to see what the rest of his table, ended up with, where all the green and red stuff went.
Exactly, exactly. And I mean, it is really no secret amongst these players that Gruul Oil, even just Gruul beatdowns, ends up being amazing. You know, you can do so many different things. You know, really very much the popular archetype amongst the pros that I've talked to so far. That and Black-White were kind of the top 2.
More beefy buddies on the board. 4 power being added here for Autumn.
All right, it looks like it is time to get them in there here. It looks like a big attack maybe being set up here. The problem that Autumn has had basically this whole game is the 3/4 and the 4/4 have basically held back any attacks. So anytime Autumn wanted to get in there, it is just chump attacking, which with Vran is fine.
Yeah.
But if you're doing that too many turns in a row, all of a sudden Luis can just change pace and attack back Autumn and really change the complexity of this game.
Attack times here for Autumn and Chat. Looks like 5 attackers are going to get in there.
Just mapping it out, getting in there with the reach creature here too.
Definitely attacking with these and figuring out.
The one thing, exactly. The one thing that is kind of scary for me, and it is in Luis's hand, is Tyvar Stand. If there's no blocker for Shepherd, being able to just Tyvar Stand a flyer, I mean, that's going to wrap it up. Unless there's something I'm missing here. Just seems like this is going to be a turn where Luis is going to be like, yes, I take a ton of damage.
Suck up a bunch of damage and then hope that there's nothing else.
Exactly.
Removal-wise.
There is a card, okay, Free from Flesh in Autumn's hand.
Yeah. 2/2 pump spell.
That's not really going to do anything here.
Yeah. You know, it's not at the part of the match where it could be a gotcha. You know, it's like, aha, 2 extra damage to your face. Nothing like that right now.
Yeah, like this is going to be a way to pump a card, you know, for a little bit or get a trade here. But as it stands, Luis is going to be able to just Tyvar Stand the Shepherd, and this game is all wrapped up.
Free from Flesh on my Contagious Vorak.
All right, so we do see the sacrifice to be able to deal with the Golem. Really heads up play there to make sure that 4/1 does not get the death trigger. To be able to find something that Autumn could interact with this flyer, and Luis recognizes it and be like, I have Tyvar stand. It's game. Really interesting.
Excellent game here between these two superb Magic players. What's the draw here? Let's see if it's anything relevant. Tyvar's stand revealed. Swing in with the team. And Autumn extends a hand. GG to Luis. That was an incredible matchup between these two players.
Yeah.
Back and forth. You know, we saw the different win conditions coming into play as well.
Yeah.
It was a slugfest.
Yeah, it was an absolute slugfest. And the one thing that I really loved as far as the power of pump spells, both players had Tyvar stand, and it was incredible at every single situation that it was cast from either player. So, yeah, what an incredible spell.
Yeah, both of those decks, you know, like we said, they're kind of mediocre, medium decks, but
yeah, maybe like sixes, you know, like
in the hands of these pros, pretty darn.
Very nice. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have more action with Michael van Vaals versus Willy Edel, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Pro Tour Phyrexia here in sunny Philadelphia, where of course it's raining.
Yeah,
Corey,
I was going to say, sunny. I don't know about that.
We were lied to somehow, but you know what? It's all good because we're inside, we're playing Magic, and we don't want our cards to get wet outside anyways.
Smart.
Yeah, so welcome friends. If you're just joining us, paper coverage is back. It's the Pro Tour, baby, and we are super excited to see the best players in the world duking it out. And speaking of best players, Corey, we got a Hall of Famer coming up.
We absolutely do got a Hall of Famer. Picked up the first match. Willy Edel coming into play here. Someone that we haven't seen a lot of recently, but has dominated the game here in the past. Coming in to check out this tournament, and he's got a really nice deck. We've definitely seen that. Yeah, it's very good.
Orzhov deck? Kaya?
Kaya, count me in. Count me in. That's all you need.
Oh, it's good. I'll wait. Michael van Vaals qualifying courtesy of the RC in Canada. Woo, Canada. I am obligated to support my fellow countrymen. So let's jump in here to game number 2. Kick things off with a swamp for Willy Edel and get things underway.
It's like for Mirrodin, but for Canada.
Yeah,
there
exactly.
you go. There you go. All right, yeah, and both of these players are 1-0 already, so the winner of this playing for that 3-0 in a pod. And I mean, I can tell you, I've played quite a few Pro Tour drafts in my day, you know, for a lot of years. I have exactly 2 3-0s, and I was jumping up and down with excitement. So starting that off, getting into Constructed right before Pioneer is huge for both of these players.
Absolutely. We're going to see Malkator, the Watcher.
Yeah, another card that
Two of them, nice.
Yeah, absolutely. The Watcher is something I really never thought was going to be that good of a card, but with how powerful and how fast the format is, if you ever get to kill a creature and draw a card, you know, the 2-for-1 ability that's built into it is incredible.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of tricks with Unctus's Rectifier, stuff like that. Ends up being a really good card in a lot of blue decks.
Yeah, and we've seen, you know, flying is important, so that will come in handy at a later stage, and just being able to, you know, attack, chip in a couple points of damage, and then be able to block. You know, you're quite happy just to throw those cards away to get the card draw if needed.
Yeah, absolutely. Got one of the alternate art cards there here. They do look really cool, I must say.
They do look really cool. Chat, help us out, because we are olds and our eyesight's not that great. What is that?
All right, and we do have the 2/4 here as well, doing some head cleaving. How do you like that card?
The head cleaver?
Yeah.
Children's head cleaver?
Yeah.
It's okay. I
I'm
mean,
a fan.
I know you like to give it immortality and death touch and just be a real mean player and kill 2 things.
Exactly. Offer Immortality ends up being my favorite card. It kind of trumps all the other pump spells. Yeah, absolutely.
Archfiend of the Dross.
Ah, there we go. There
Good
we
job,
go.
chat.
Okay. Yep.
Good job. Okay, so that's the card that, oops, you lose your counters, you lose the game. So I like this aerial attack here from Michael Van Vaals.
Yeah,
Flying is good. Evasion, 2
even
points,
better.
You know?
Absolutely.
Oof, down to 9 already goes Willy. And we're going to see Pestilence Siphoner, more birds.
Yeah.
Burb.deck.
Wow, huge advantage to Michael here. Look at this. Just all of a sudden, 9 power in the air here. And Willy Edel is at, well, yep, you guessed it, 9. So this is this might be a really quick game.
Yeah, and I love this. Both players just, you know, okay, I'm just going to turn things sideways and let's just try and smack each other around a bit. See who can get the win here first.
Yeah, absolutely here. And the life total that's coming in, you know, is not as important here as the 5 toxic that can be applied right now. So, I mean, this is just a hyper-aggressive format, and this is really reflecting it a lot more than the Luis auto match that we just saw.
Yeah, because there's no green dudes, that's why.
Yeah, exactly.
No big beefy bodies in the way. Down to 12 goes Michael. 5 poison counters added in here, so this is likely to be a very fast game here. Just a reminder, this is game 2. Michael won the first one.
And I believe I did see Annoyed here from Willy Edel. So that is able to break this up a little bit from being absolutely lethal right now. And there we go, since we are corrupted, can just straight away deal with the powerful 6-power creature.
Yep, Archfiend down.
And that is really going to slow down Michael quite a bit here. Yeah. With 5 toxic already here, now all of a sudden Michael is really in the defensive, and we'll see what he has. I saw a couple of lands and a 3rd card. Not ideal here, and here comes in 3.
Yeah, 3 more points of damage. 2 blockers available. And yeah, just has to not take the same hit this time around.
Ooh, and that was the only other follow-up. I believe Michael just has 2 lands here.
Glistener Seer added to the board.
Yeah, 1 Anoint here. Just such an incredibly powerful card for 2 mana, being able to deal with 4 drops here. Really completely changed the texture of this game.
Full swing once again here from the Hall of Famer. We're going to see the Watchers jump in front of the relevant creatures, trying to prevent as much toxic as possible.
Yep, debating if Michael wants to throw away this last Watcher here. Michael does get to draw a bunch of cards, you know? I mean, if both of these Watchers do die, being able to draw 3 cards essentially with your draw step as well is great.
Yeah, you know, can't block the head cleaver, so the Indoctrination Attendant is the likely.
The one thing I will say with Willy Edel at 6, there is Unctus's Retrofitter in Michael's deck. So leaving one of these artifacts alive would create just a lethal attack if you're able to, you know, if you didn't have to block everything. So Michael might kick himself if that card is top decked, but man, Unctus's Retrofitter is such an incredible card. One of the best blue uncommons, and really all the blue uncommons are really impressive.
Yeah.
But if you just have blue commons, that's where blue ends up looking a little lackluster. But if your deck's full of blue uncommons, you have a good deck.
Yeah, and
There's no secret about it.
blue is not picked very highly. You know, a lot of the pro players are in agreement that that's the worst color in this format. But,
Yeah,
you know, that does leave you a lot more options if you are the only blue player at the table.
100%. Yep.
Pestilence Siphoner, along with the Glistener Seer hanging back.
Looks like another Pestilence Siphoner in Michael's hand, and then 3 other lands with another draw step. So something Michael will hopefully be finding a little something extra.
Michael's land game is on point.
Very good. Absolutely.
Those are some of my favorite things.
Those are my second favorite. I love them.
What's your first?
I love the John Avon unhinged lands.
Okay, fine.
Yep,
That's
yep.
fair.
I have them hung up at my house and everything in giant frames. Yeah, big fan. But these are awesome. They look so good.
We're such land snobs. I love it.
We really are. Absolutely. All right, so a big turn here from Willy. 6 life and 7 poison. So Michael has to be very aware of both,
Yeah.
sides of death here.
Yep. Miranbar Deesh was added to the board. We missed our Formuridan trigger.
Dang it,
Darn it.
Maybe we can rewind the tape and get it right.
Yes, we'll just stop the Pro Tour for our benefit.
First mistake we've ever made in the booth together,
Of
though,
course.
Ailey. So.
Yes.
All right, looks like a chump block.
Oh, 2 more poison coming through though with that head cleaver.
The head cleaver has just been insane. I
got the
thought
Seed Core
I
too.
thought right away that card was not going to be that great. Just block with 2 2/2s, easy game. But when it turns out that all the pump spells are so good, you put your opponent in a position like now if Michael has 2 creatures and Willy Edel has a pump spell, it's just gonna work because you have to block at this point. 9
Yeah.
poison, 9 toxic, excuse me. It's just really no choice most of the time.
Yeah, and the Seed Core being able to pump up the 1/1s as well.
We can
Excellent.
redeem
Oh,
ourselves because we got
Formuridan! There you go. All is right with the world. Damn. Double of
Yeah.
those. That is a beating.
Oh, that is Black Sun Zenith, but
Ooh.
it does not look like even close to enough. A really powerful card. And Michael's deck does look really good.
Yeah.
I must say, but evens it up there, and we're heading to a 3rd game.
Nice. Lots of good turns there. Creatures swinging sideways.
Yeah, I'm good.
We love to see it, so let's get things underway here. Game number 3. Both of these players are vying for the top spot in their pod to get that coveted 3-0 to start
Absolutely.
their constructed portion of the day.
Nothing better than starting 3-0
Age.
and the feeling of having a good constructed deck.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
If you're kind of on the fence, then it's like, okay, I'm a little scared. And wow, look at
Wow.
that aggressive play.
Just get out of here. We don't want you here, Duelist.
That pains me in my soul, my value soul here. But Duelist is just incredible. Not only are you hitting for 2, but 2 toxic right away.
Goodness me.
Incredible.
Yeah, that card is a house, I will say.
Okay, speaking of the house, we got a gigantic creature in the building once again.
Gold Warden's
Archfiend of the Dross comes down.
Oh, hey, bud.
Starts that clock. Yeah, wow.
Oh.
Michael's deck
Oh.
looks awesome, too. There
Ow,
it is.
there it is. Yeah, you called it. You were just like, yeah, the Sovereign Mortality is kind of good. Yes.
I'm
very.
looking at all the other pump spells, and they all draw a card, and then you look at this one, and you're like, wait, where's the draw the card? Is it
Yeah.
in the flavor text or something? And you're like, turns out it is still just good enough.
Dune Mover added to the board now, and yeah, we're just gonna keep swinging here for Edel, and down to 16 goes Michael Van Vaals.
Yeah, bad news for Michael. That is 4 lands in hand and absolutely nothing else to do here. And just drew a 5th land.
Oh, look at the little rat. Chittering Skitterling. Say that 10 times fast.
Yeah, no kidding. What an incredible card, though. If you can get
Yeah.
corrupted, the fact that
It's so good.
just for free you can sacrifice stuff, so removal is basically irrelevant. Just being able to replace everything, it ends up being a really scary card, even though it's a 1/4 body.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Oh, Nimir is a paladin.
Wow. Both of their decks look incredible. Of course, Michael here with just a complete flood. Kept a perfectly good hand.
Yeah.
5-lander on the play with 2 bombs.
Yeah.
Reasonable,
Yeah.
but just the deck just had no help coming in for Michael.
Things not looking great here for the Canadian, as we're going to see. I think I know this one. Hang on. This is like flashcard.
yeah, exactly.
Yes?
All the alternate arts.
Is the bird the 1/1 Death Touch?
I'm going to take your word for it. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Pestilence Siphoner, I think.
Okay. An alternate version of it.
Yes.
We love it.
It's like, I know this one. I have seen it. Oh, man. But that is not going to be enough against this board that we have
Wow.
established right here.
It's Kaya.
Woo! Oh,
There it
Kyle.
is.
You're in danger, Michael.
-3-ish.
Oh,
I was
goodness,
like,
he can just
It wasn't an
dome him
aura,
if he
but a
wants to.
token.
Oh, there's so many options with Kyle. Such a good card, but yeah, just gonna get rid of that Pestilence Life now.
Yeah, it's like the art on that one, maybe something we're not all incredibly used to, but believe it or not, for 7 mana, and as a Planeswalker, I think we can figure that one out. Yep. Kaya comes down just being incredible here. And basically on every battlefield.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Actually, that'll work.
So
It takes all
exciting.
anyway.
The
Yeah,
Planeswalkers in this set, like, doesn't he a couple there, but like, nah, you don't really want to play that, but
Yeah. Yeah.
Planeswalker problems aplenty for Michael Van Vaals.
What an incredible draw here from the Hall of Famer. Just curved out perfectly,
Wow,
drew
hasn't
well
taken
off
any
the top,
damage.
and
That's it.
yep, that's it.
That's it. Willy Edel making it look easy with an insanely powerful Orzhov deck, and that is going to put him to 2-0, so fighting in the finals for that coveted 3-0, Corey.
Yeah, absolutely. And whoever is going to sit against Willy Edel at the end for that 3-0, got to be intimidating at the first draft back to the Pro Tour. Like, going to be a big match ahead of us for this one. That's for sure. I'm very excited.
You got to think the nerves for the players, especially, you know, seeing some of their childhood heroes in front of them is like, oh my gosh, how do you deal with that?
I have the nerves, and I'm in here hanging with you. Like, I can't imagine out there, you know, playing it up. So, yeah, really awesome stuff.
Well, we have one more round of draft friends to find out our 3-0 players. Maria will be back with you after this break at the desk.